Bada bing, bada boom, welcome to the room of a LinkedIn audio. Say Twitter space because we are not in a Twitter space. It's a pleasure to be alongside some fantastic leaders in the space. Of course, Ivan from Pixel Boss, Josh, NFT Loops, Remco, Tom, Hemilly, new faces into the LinkedIn audio spaces. Hemilly, one, am I pronouncing your name right? And two, how's your audio going on your end? Is it mute on your guys' end?
She's on mute.
Is it mute? She's on mute. I think she's
Hello, guys. Can you hear me?
Hemilly, how you doing? We can hear you now. Just testing the audio on your end.
Yeah, I'm trying to fix everything here.
No, all good. Take your time. In the meantime, I'll give a quick intro to everybody and what this space is about and what has been happening within LinkedIn audio for the past, let's say, 2 months, Ivan. Ivan was the first one to dive deep into the LinkedIn audio across globally, not even in Australia, testing out a few spaces and realizing and seeing the opportunity that LinkedIn audio is kicking off. And we wanted to be ahead of the curve, so we began running these spaces for over the last 2 months. And they started off small, four people in a room talking it up. The last space we had over, I think, 200 people that wanted to attend. And today, the room is quite clear that there's many people that are interested in the topics, and LinkedIn audio is kicking off, right? Though the topic of this conversation is Metaverse, right? The theme each week and each fortnight is continuously changing. One, with the new dynamics of Web3 and what's happening. But two, the information that comes into the space is so new that we have to pivot every single day within Web3. Because your whole business model can change on the bull of the market compared to launching a project now. 6 months ago, completely different market. So let's first talk on Metaverse. I don't want to have this conversation to be what's the Metaverse? Let's define it. I want to talk on a far deeper topic. One, because I think the time of the individuals that we have on stage is valuable, and I believe they are a wealth of knowledge. There's a lot of how to and what to do on metaverses on YouTube and Google, but I want to direct this conversation into strategy, tactics, and really have a depth of understanding. So let's first kick off.
One sec, I'm just going to jump in for a second, Daniel, and I just want to encourage people in the room, if throughout this, if you have something to say, just put your hand up, we'll bring you up, ask your question, or just send a message. There's the 3 dots. Those 3 dots take you to the page. Type your message in. If we can get to it, we will. The idea of these spaces is, yes, we've had amazing people that have come forward to speak, but everybody in the room, feel free to participate. There's no such thing as a dumb question. Some of you are really leading the way. Doesn't mean if you're new to this that you shouldn't participate. This is a space where we can all contribute and participate. And yeah, that's just for me, because I know some people just don't like to feel silly or just let's make this really a collective effort.
Beautiful. Let's do a quick intro around the room. We'll first start off with Josh, Remco, Tom, and Hemilly, just from the order I see you guys in. We'll start off with Josh. Just give a quick intro about what you've been up to in the last month within the Web3 space, and then we'll throw it to Remco, Tom, and then Hemilly.
Awesome. Thanks, Daniel and Ivan, for having me. I'll do a quick 30-second one. I'm Josh, the founder of NFT for Noobs, one of Australia's largest NFT communities for beginners. I focus mostly on utilizing social media to be able to build the NFT space through just doing content daily and helping beginners with any questions they have. So we have a very large community on TikTok. I'm really focused on the video, social media formats instead of the Twitters and the LinkedIn's and the Discords. And I feel by doing that, you can build more connections with the audience and get them more involved in the NFT space. So we're really focused on TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts. So that's a very big, very short introduction to what we do.
Thanks, Josh. I'll throw it to Remco.
Yeah, thanks. So happy to be in this room. So some great names, really cool. So my name is Remco Sikkema. I'm the marketing manager at Movella, also known as Xsense. We provide motion capture services in the space. And I'm very active on LinkedIn, mostly on the side of movement of emotion in the metaverse, because I think it's very important we scale that up to something better, because now conversations feel very flat, not genuine, not natural. So there's a lot of space to grow here. So this is what I talk about a lot. I'm a Metaverse, NFT, all kinds of enthusiast. So I love being here, love talking about it, love writing about it. Excited to talk about it here. Thanks.
Legend Remco, throw it to Tom.
Hey guys, good to be here. Good morning. It's very early here in the UK. So a bit of background on me. I'm founder of Expensive JPEG, which is a NFT and Metaverse-focused marketing agency. We focus mostly on land sales, Metaverse projects, and helping brands enter the Metaverse. So it's very much builder and community-focused for us. And I should also mention I have X-Landvault, which is the world's largest Metaverse building company. So go and check them out if you're looking to enter the Metaverse.
Then we'll run up to Hemilly.
Hello guys, I'm Emily, and I'm more on the marketing side of Metaverse and field projects in crypto. Basically, I'm kind of like spreading cryptocurrency all over the world and going to events, building community, helping women to understand about crypto, NFTs, Metaverse, and this whole digital thing. That's pretty much.
Legend, thank you. And it's Emily or Hemilly?
It's both, I would say. I'm also on a trading side, but I don't want to go too technical. So, I'm the part of the Web3 community, helping people to get educated.
Beautiful. Let's kick this into Josh. I want to talk about not what Metaverse is, but let's talk around what is the audience not understanding about the Metaverse. And the reason I want to start with you is because your audience is quite spread over a lot of new people. You're in the TikTok audience, a lot of people in your Discord, a lot of people sign up to your newsletter. You would have a wealth of knowledge on the understanding of what the day-to-day, the teenagers, the 20-year-olds, the next generation, what do you think people are not understanding about the Metaverse, Josh?
That's a good question, and I'm by no means an expert on the Metaverse, by the way, either. I'm still learning every day. I think the definition of what the Metaverse is keeps changing week in, week out. But just based upon the messages and DMs we get from our large community, it's definitely that, what exactly is it? Like, they don't understand that you can own the digital land, they don't understand that you can own these assets in the Metaverse. It's more about what exactly the concept is. I think people get confused as well with is Epic Games Fortnite, is that a Metaverse? Was Second Life a Metaverse when that created? Because there's arguments with that as well. And there's also the fact that what the difference is between Yuga Labs' Metaverse, which is coming out the other side, and the differences between that and our more traditional Metaverses. So it's more about confusion of what actually defines a Metaverse is the DMs that we get, which I'm sure Remco could, and the guys on the panel here could probably answer that as well.
Yeah, just for the panelists, feel free to tap your.
Yeah.
That way,
I think it's very interesting.
Add in a statement or pose a question. Jump in, Remco.
Yeah. I think it's a super interesting question, and whenever I talk about it, and see people ask me about it, the first thing I actually say is, well, it doesn't exist yet, and I think that's where a lot of people are confused. They think it's there, either Facebook is already the Metaverse, or indeed, like Josh said, Roblox or Fortnite is the Metaverse, but it's not. It's maybe a preliminary, situation of how it could be, how it could end up, but it's not there. It's just a concept. It's an idea, and I'm sure it's going to be there at some point, but it just takes time. And I think that is the biggest misconception at this point. But maybe that's also just me. So I'm happy to hear any discussions on this.
I definitely agree with some of that. It is in its infancy, whatever it is. And it's a very hard thing to define. Even now, how the internet's been around for several decades, and we still struggle to define it. Is the internet a collection of web pages? Is it the network that lets you connect together? Is it the protocols that keep you safe? You can't define what the internet is, really. It is all of those things in order to function. It's like a living organism. And the metaverse is kind of similar. Is the metaverse these video games? Is it the land that people own? Is it the cryptocurrency that people trade with? It's all of the things, and it's all very, very young at the moment. It's a concept, right? It's a virtual concept, which is something quite new to a lot of people. But you can't take away any aspect, and we are only adding stuff at the moment. We're building on top of protocols, we're making them stronger, we're changing the proof services, we're changing the currencies all the time. New virtual lands are popping up. And it's the unity of all of those things, and the people in it, more importantly, the people that we're here to market to.
Question for you. Because I've seen recently that you've become a mentor at Third Academy.
Yeah.
And you'd be onboarding a lot of brands to the metaverse, particularly with your focus on land sales and land in the metaverse. Where do you begin talking to brands about the metaverse? Obviously, they're searching. They want to have some type of exposure.
That's it.
Laying out, okay, these are the five. Go here.
Yeah.
How do you?
Fantastic question. It's very difficult at the moment because depending on the kind of brand that you are, you either get it or you don't. I think a good place to start is always at the beginning and helping them understand what it is that they're about to embark on. And I quite often, I'm a very, I take a lot of analogies into conversations with me. And I think a good one here is if you turn to, let's say, McDonald's or Nike or HSBC or any of these sort of, big global brands and said, 20 years ago, you guys need an Instagram account, you need a Facebook account, you need a LinkedIn presence, they would have probably been like, why? Like, none of the people on here that's not where we do our business. We do our business on our website. If you went to them today and said, okay, well, how much for me to buy all of your social media handles, to buy your accounts and everything, they would be like, it's priceless. We can't sell it to you. That's where we do all of our business. And it's kind of going to be the same in the metaverse. People are going to start doing their business in these virtual worlds. They're going to start meeting their customers, advertising to their customers, learning from their customers and their communities in the metaverse, whatever shape that takes. And as soon as we get past that part with the brand and that conversation, they start to realize that this isn't something they can ignore, otherwise they'll be left behind. You don't want to be starting your, HSBC don't want to be starting their Instagram account now from scratch. They want to get ahead of the game and start getting on board with it. So
what are some of the best examples that you usually give them? Is it giving them like the idea of sandbox and the value of those land areas and saying, hey, if you move next to Snoop, this is what Snoop Dogg is doing?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's a fantastic example right there. Yeah. Yeah, Snoop has done an amazing job, and because he did such a good job, the value of his land has increased, but also the land around it, much like in the real world. Can we get just for the audience that's listening, if you do know about the Snoop land, hit the love heart, and if you don't, hit the clap. It's just like get a gauge of the audience. And for anyone that doesn't know how to use the function, if you look at the bottom right, press react to love heart for if you know about Snoop, clap for if you do not. That's a fantastic example, and so the events and the live gigs and things like that Snoop has held on his land shows the brands immediately what can be done. And there's loads of examples out there. We had Decentraland Fashion Week, back in the beginning of this year. We've had the MasterCard Pride Parade, and those are just events that people have held that have been very successful in showcasing what people are able to do. But then there's other aspects as well. which are a little bit more less brand focused, but still or less brand awareness focused, such as trading different assets that you can only purchase on pieces of land. So this might be leaning towards digital fashion. If you want to go and buy the latest virtual Gucci bag, you can only buy it in the virtual Gucci shop. You can't buy it in the real shop. You can't do things like that. So it becomes like another storefront, I suppose. But I guess the metaverse is kind of like, if anyone on here is old enough to remember your MySpace page, where you had your profile picture and your bio and this annoying song that played every time you went on it, that was a very 2D version of your corner of the internet. The metaverse has taken that and made it 3D. So rather than having a bio, you have a little room that has all of your trophies from your video gaming in it, and it has your LinkedIn certificates in it, and then you have another room that has your NFT collection on the wall, and you have another room that's playing your favorite film, and people can come and visit your profile, as it were, and it really starts to paint a picture of who you are as an individual. Take that and scale it up to a brand, and that's kind of where the metaverse is heading, a virtual place to represent your brand and the people that you want to come and attend.
Yeah, that's an interesting take indeed. So did you guys watch or did you guys experience the Vogue experience? So they entered the metaverse with I don't know how to call it other than an experience.
Actually, I didn't even hear about the Vogue into Metaverse. I'm not sure if the audience saw it. Did you guys see that? Hit a love heart if you did, and clap if you did.
Yeah, Vogue Space.
Yeah, something like this.
Maybe talk.
Yes, I've been in the event.
Yeah, I can talk you through it, because so this is a typical example. What I see happening now. In the metaverse, at least, these brands, they say, okay, we drop a metaverse experience. So what happens is you go to this website and it's more or less, well, you remember these Java, or what is it? No, not Java. It's, you log into a land and it's very linear. You go, you wander around in some kind of a spaceship, and then you pass different kinds of, I think every country, Vogue asked every country to present something in this land. So you take a spaceship and you fly around, and you see all kinds of experiences that every country has entered in this space. Yeah, to me it felt really, actually it felt like 1990. It's like an old kind of style.
Was it pretty friction-full, or was it quite easy?
Well, the navigation, which was really dreadful. You have to go with your ADSW, keyboard, and you had to go. I got stuck several times, didn't know where to go. Yeah, and it was, I don't know, it didn't feel like something new. It actually felt like something old, and they reuse it or something.
Let's talk about that, because I know, Remco, your background is particularly within motion capture, which essentially is what the metaverse is built on. It's what these characters are built on. All these metaverse artists, metaverse rappers, characters, they utilize motion capture to tell their story. I have a very specific question, and the reason I'm making it very specific is because of the growth of AI technology. Can you talk us through the use of AI adoption within motion capture particularly, and where you think that's going within the metaverse?
Yeah, I can. So let's take a little step back then. So motion capture technology is a technology that digitizes motion. So it makes your motions mirror your motions on the screen. So what we have is we have a suit. If you put it on, then in our software you see a mannequin doing the same motions as you do. And the trick is to make these motions as natural and as best and as genuine as possible. So there's several technologies. So what we have as Movella is inertial technologies. That means, well, all the technology is in the suit. That also means you can go anywhere. You can go base jumping, you can go mountain climbing, but you can also just be in a set, or in a studio. So the second option that you have is optical, which means you need a studio with all kinds of cameras. And actually then the technology is not in the suit, but the technology is about the cameras seeing the little balls that are on your suit. And then it translates it into a digital avatar. So you have inside out and outside in, for instance. And then there's this new technology, which is AI. So AI takes phones, for instance, or cameras, and it sees your emotions, and then it translates it into digital a digital avatar, without having a suit. And all of these different technologies have different use cases. Like I said, well, our suit is really easy if you want to go anywhere, if you want to really be flexible, in the studio, outside, on the field. Optical is mostly used as you have, a lot of people that you want to capture, because it's, the positioning is somewhat better. And then the new AI, well, it's new, it's developing. For instance, one thing that it cannot do at this point is it cannot be live at this point, so there needs to be a little bit development. The quality is getting there, and I think for the metaverse it could be very interesting. So those are the technologies that you have, and it's a rapidly development that is going on.
It's continuously growing, right? Like it's so hard to keep up with the tech side. So I think I love it too.
Yeah, and what I even saw, and this is the next step, is, well, you now have like text to video, you have text to images, so you type in something and then an image comes out. And you also have text to motion. So you type in, somebody walking, then sitting, and then running. And then you hit enter, and then you get, an avatar walking, sitting, running. So it's a rapid space at this point. It's
That's
really
wild.
Interesting to see it.
I mean, you're seeing digital art or AI art being quite a bit of a boom recently over a few months. I'd love to talk on content creation and continue this conversation on where the metaverse is going for the next 20 minutes before we bring on anyone from the audience to add any comments, ask any questions to the amazing panel.
Before you jump into that, Daniel, anyone in the room, if you go to the three dots, if you can share the room, it would be fantastic. As we sort of head into this second half. The other thing I want to just derail where you're going for a minute there, Daniel. Really keen to understand with the panel, in terms of the metaverse, what do you see as a really strong use case when it comes to brands or labs or companies that have done a phenomenal job? I know Sandbox we talked about before, but I want to know other areas within the metaverse that are working really well. A really silly reference, because I know it's not the metaverse, but my daughter plays Roblox, and the UX on that is phenomenal. The way that they've engaged their audience is incredible, purely because it's easy to build on. They interact, they talk, they shift, they change. Everything they promise, they do well. Who's done that in Web3 when it comes to the metaverse? That's one question. My other question. Actually, let's cap off that one first. Whoever wants to step up, please do.
Yeah, I'll jump in a bit. I think you've identified a very big problem, and it's getting better week on week, but Web3, and this goes beyond just the metaverse, this goes into NFT purchases, marketplaces, crypto and everything, has quite a fundamental UI, UX issue. It's a nightmare. Everyone's tried. It's a nightmare to get onto some of these metaverses, connect the correct wallet. Oh, I haven't got the right wallet. Okay, I need to go and make another wallet, transfer funds. And all of this is a bit clunky at the moment. And I don't think there's any Metaverse specific example where people have really excelled at it. Having said that, the other side from Yuga Labs Metaverse experiment that they did probably 2 or 3 months ago now, where they really stress tested their system. I think they got like 1,000 people into one shard and one space to test how it functioned. Looked very, very promising. It was a closed, sort of restricted test, so only certain Yuga Labs and coin holders were able to test. But go on YouTube, search for the other side stress test, and you'll see the videos, and it looked very promising. So I'm excited to see how that translates into the actual release product when that comes out soon. I don't know if anybody else has any other experiences with I'm sure we're all having bad experiences. I don't know if anybody has any good experiences with the user experience for Web3.
Talking on spatial, if anyone has heard of spatial, that is...
Yeah.
I love spatial.
Yeah.
Everyone that touches that, builds on it, has good experiences. Obviously, it's still frictionful.
That's very true.
The state that we're in. Like, interacting with content, for instance, on spatial is still a bit of friction behind it. You can play YouTube videos and so forth. But then the question is, why not go on YouTube?
I love how they integrated the Ready Player Me avatar, because that's I think
I love the
great
Ready Player Me guys. They absolutely nailed it. Their digital identity is my favorite by far.
Yeah, because I also go a lot on
Why is that?
I also go a lot on Allspace VR, and they have like this body with floating hands and no legs, and then but it's the same principle as spatial, but then you have this, and then you go into spatial, and then you have your own your own Ready Player Me avatar. I love it.
Yeah.
I think Ready Player Me, just the cross world, cross app aspect that they've built and they've really focused on makes it just more enjoyable to use.
I just feel like most people inside spatial, they're involved in fashion industry. I don't know if you guys feel that, like I don't really see any other companies or anything else apart from fashion industry and NFTs there. Mm-hmm. So what are your thoughts? I don't know what you guys think. But
I've done a couple of meetings. They were not fashion or NFT focused. They were more about meetings and then presenting something. I think I presented something in spatial, and it worked quite well. But I agree. There's a lot of fashion in there.
Spatial also doing some really interesting work in the sports NFT arena. There's a big sports metaverse called Sports Icon, and they've worked with spatial to make sure that the experiences you're having with professional athletes is very compelling. So they just do good work.
Talking on content, because I know Hemilly, you're a content creator within the choice ecosystem, and you'll know a bit of a gauge of where content is going within the metaverse, and Josh can talk on this too and give his perspective. Where do you see content going, and content creation particularly going within the metaverse? Do you see another app like TikTok coming out with only NFT filters, or is TikTok moving into that themselves? Where do you see content creation going for the metaverse?
Well, it's a very great question, actually. We all waiting on these next platforms. I just feel like everything has been featured with ads now. So I really hope that we're gonna face a new platform soon, in general. Anyways, like Instagram is pretty boring right now, but I think Instagram actually is the place that we're gonna see more metaverse talk than TikTok, maybe.
I was expecting the other way around. It's interesting.
It depends on where you focus, actually, I think. Like, most people are focused on TikTok, but I also see, like, on Metaverse side, more stuff on Instagram. So it's kind of balanced, but
we're seeing a rise as well for like AI content creation, which is pretty interesting. Like there's a Bored Ape Yacht Club owner that I've noticed on TikTok recently. That's his whole page is just his avatar, but it's like, not an AI specific, but it's like an overlay of his character, and he's speaking through the character. I think we're going to see a lot more of that as well, because as a content creator, and most people that want to get into content creating, they're scared to get in front of the camera or they're self-conscious. So I think we might see a lot of these pseudo-anonymous characters rise from these NFT identities that they do assign themselves to, and then so that they're more comfortable being able to speak and express themselves in like a digital realm. So I think that's something interesting to keep an eye out for as well.
Yeah, I'm sure Remco.
yeah, that's true.
I'm sure Remco can talk more about this.
Yeah, what I can say
There's some
is
amazing VTubers out there.
yeah, what I can say is that it will become more and more easy to make your own avatar, because when you think about a year back, it would be really hard to make your own avatar, like a real digital person, like because you had to have riggers, you have to have designers, everything, you had to be done. And I've been in this situation, and, I'm talking about, I don't know, at least 10, maybe up to 50K, that you would pay to get a proper and good avatar. It's a shame that Sammy isn't there, because I think she could also talk about this a lot. But nowadays it's getting so much easier. I think it's a month ago I did a post about, I can't remember the name, but it's like Ready Player Me. You make a photo and then you have an avatar in front of you, and you can just start streaming as your avatar. And it took me like 3 minutes to get it done, and then I was streaming as an avatar. And this will become more and more and more easy, and it's gonna explode soon, I think. And so I agree on this.
Yeah, you're already seeing also AI rappers, like they got signed recently, but then he got let go as well for some controversial reasons. But you're seeing all these entities as well, like personalities arise, and it's not a person, it's an AI avatar that's behind it. They're going to see a lot more of those celebrities and entities as well. I think that'll rise from people that want to create content, but they're too shy to get in front of the camera, or they want to just try something new to test it out before they do hop in there and maybe show their face on the camera. So I think you're going to see a rise in the creator economy as well, especially now that they can actually own their avatars rather than just being a random silhouette of a digital figure that they're behind. They actually have ownership of it, and they could potentially even sell it later on if they get sick of that identity. I think there's a lot more utility we might see in the future.
There's definitely, the other side of that as well, where we're in whichever part of society you're from, we're definitely in a sort of revolution about personal identity and pronouns and gender identity and all of those pieces coming through. And maybe the metaverse is a fantastic place for people to really pick what they want to be represented as in the future. And I think it falls outside of even the limitations of human physical traits. You can be blue, you can have fire for hair, you can have wings, and I think that's quite an interesting psychological experiment for everyone to sit down and think about. If I could be anything and look any way, how would I choose?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think that would help a lot of people. That's why we create choice as well, because I just feel like most people can't talk about themselves. They don't feel comfortable, or they are in a dangerous country. They can't be themselves. So in this part, I think will help loads and lots of people.
Yeah, for sure.
Guys, I just wanted to.
I don't know if you've seen it. There's this NBA guy. I think he's called Luca or something, and he has his own virtual identity, but it's fully AI driven. So all his social media content, everything is AI driven. So he's not involved. There's just a machine running his whole personality, which is super interesting. You have to look it up. It's called, I think it's look.ai, but I don't think there's much of that.
There's another one I've seen on TikTok as well. Josh would probably be able to comment on it. remember, it's a female that's just purely a robot or an AI that creates. It's going to be interesting when this plays out over the next 5 years, and the kids and the next generation is looking up to these guys as influencers and following their content over the years and growing up essentially with a robot, because the robot or the AI knows more about the target audience than the parents, which is going to be crazy.
I'm just going to jump in for a second. Just an apology, Sammy, with last minute cancellation. She had some travels to come up. But I'm also conscious of time, and I've got a question to jump in on. What are some good use cases that people have seen where an actual physical business has actually, effectively mirrored themselves in the metaverse? Because that's something I see playing out very well into the future, where it is whether it's be a fashion store or a nightclub, or whether it be a gallery, whatever it may be, a place where people come together. Who's seen that play out so far, and what are some examples?
I have seen HSBC became like one of the first financial institutions to buy some land. I think it might be in the Sandbox, and they're looking to make that their headquarters within the metaverse. So I'm unsure on how successful that was, because I have jumped in those metaverses and they are a bit of a ghost town. But I think that's kind of the first step, is just claiming some land, and then I'm not sure if anyone else on the panel can comment on how that venture has been for them or not. But I haven't really been keeping up to date.
I think some of the best ones I've seen are the best sort of activation-based pieces. Gucci did a very good job in Roblox. I know that's not Web3, but and Nightland has been hugely successful. I don't know what the figures are, but Nightland turnover and revenue generation was almost as much as their real-world sales, I think, maybe last month. And then there's a lot of brands that we don't see in the limelight and necessarily with the experiences at the front, but are pushing the development of the metaverse. So on the back end, you've got where these places are developed in Unity and in Unreal. They may not be building experiences for themselves, but they're providing the platform for everybody else to, which is, very important. Same for NVIDIA, with their latest updates and RTX releases, just taking the virtual worlds to the next level. So at the moment, I think the best examples of good brand use cases attached to the metaverse are at kind of an infrastructure level and a platform provider level. And we're starting to see the brands taking advantage of that infrastructure. But there has not been a flawless one. There have been some very good use cases, mostly in fashion at the moment.
Yeah.
It seems to be paving the way.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the fashion industry, I've been to the digital fashion weeks this year. New York has been very, very successful, and definitely the fashion industry will be the first one and coolest one, I would say. But they don't even know actually how to tell people, how to explain metaverse, but they are in metaverse.
Yeah, no, interesting that, you're both saying that fashion is going to pave the way of that sort of, utilizing the space to its potential, because I just thought there'd be other areas, but more importantly, in my opinion, I believe that the brand or the community that start to do what they do in the real world and then mirror that in the metaverse, where you can be in either or both, would be super fascinating. We talk about building community, and I think whether you're at that event in real life or whether you're experiencing it online, I think it allows both to be in conversation and merge those two together. Super keen to see that play out.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to
Yeah, maybe I can add. No, that because. Oh, sorry. Oh, did I?
Yeah, great.
So I think fashion indeed is one, but I also think the music and live industry is paving the way together with them. I know one example, which is Yabal. Yabal.io. So it's they build a metaverse And what they did is they invite like indie artists to play live events in there as avatars. So then you go in as the public, and you can give them coins, and you give them applause, and it's like a normal concert that you go, but it's all virtual. And it's really pretty cool. And they have their own their own coin in that space, and it's done really well. So I think that is also where it's going to go,
great.
because it's like the next step of Spotify.
I'm just going to throw someone under the bus here. Lorne Penman's in the audience down there. Absolute legend of a bloke. He also happens to be the president at Steve Aoki's record label in LA. We all know that Steve Aoki is a pretty sort of strong, Web3 artist, human, and really kicking some ass there. Lorne, if you're willing to come up for a quick chat, mate, you're not short for words, so put your hand up and come up, bud. Oh, awkward silence.
It's interesting how you guys say like fashion is first, music is second. It's always the same principle applies, right? Culture is always going to be touched by fashion and music. Like sneaker culture, we see it. I mean, Nike is very early and doing a very good job at showcasing what that looks like. Are there any other areas where you think it will touch fashion, music, anything else that we could see a big wave of right now?
I think this is where it gets a little bit more complicated to say what is Metaverse and what's not, but I think the gaming area is always worth mentioning because it so closely aligns to the interface of the Metaverse. Having said that, I've worked in the gaming industry for quite a while now, and I've got to say, gamers, you're quite a stubborn bunch. You would have thought you'd be jumping right on top of this Metaverse trend, and I completely understand why. A lot of people play games to relax and to unwind with their friends. They don't want to then have to deal with an economy on top of that and a social aspect and everything. They just want to play the good games, But I think we're still going to see over the next year and a half, big game studios developing good games that happen to be Web3 based. I think the gameplay and the game experience needs to come first, and then everything else needs to come second. And you can't, it's not going to be a cash grab. It needs to be a proper game. But I think when that happens, it might be the point where the world suddenly flips and goes, okay, I get the Metaverse now. I always like to mention, when Pokemon Go took the world by storm, everyone was playing it. Taxi drivers, Yanam, everyone was playing it. If that had been an NFT Web3 game, everyone would have been on board with NFTs overnight. If you were capturing Pokemon and they were NFTs, everyone would have got it overnight. And I think there's someone out there that's going to crack that jam.
Well, it's funny to see that Disney is now going into NFTs. They're even hiring a lawyer that's doing this. And then you see that Marvel is teaming up with the maker of Pokemon Go. What's it called again?
Niantic.
Yes, exactly. So then, you might have, like a perfect combination.
Absolutely. I can't wait.
Yeah, I agree. And also, a lot of people, they get confused about gaming and Metaverse because we have like different worlds and spaces. Most people ask me if Metaverse is a game. So I think it's good and bad in the same time to explain.
I have a question for you, Emily. With that point, do you think the word Metaverse will disappear and it will just become the internet? We'll just get rid of Metaverse. Maybe even NFT, the word will go and it'll just be collectibles.
Maybe. Who knows? Anything is possible, actually, Metaverse. Facebook using the word Metaverse has changed a lot. So definitely, people even think like Facebook is Metaverse. So we have a lot of things to go through and teach in general.
Yeah, thank you, Zuckerberg, for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I mean,
we don't call it the internet, the World Wide Web anymore. So maybe we will not call it Metaverse anymore.
But people don't even really say the internet; they just say Snapchat or Instagram or TikTok.
Or maybe we should say the new 4G word soon.
Yeah.
Well, it will probably be that use case where you just end up referring to things as brands. I mean, that's how it usually plays out. That's how I think the audio meta is going, where everyone says, "Oh, ask Siri or ask Alexa." We didn't say ask the audio interface AI. We say it's the name of the brand, right? We get rid of all these technical terms because they're useless. They're not necessary. And it's far easier to be connected to a story or a personality than it is to technology. It's not. Humans don't like to talk to robots like that. It doesn't play out.
Yeah.
Let's take the next.
Maybe. Oh, sorry.
Well, no, jump in with your last point. Then we'll
last thing I want to add. So maybe I think it was Emily also. So something has to jumpstart it all. And like the end of the year, we have the World Cup. It's soccer, and maybe an event like that, can spark things. If they would integrate, NFT somehow and Metaverse somehow, maybe then, it will resonate. Because I think indeed, and I think a couple of you have said it, something should spark it. It's now there should be one huge use case that will get this to a next step. Like the Pokemon Go, for example.
Fantastic. And let's jump into any questions that we have at the moment for anyone that does want to come up, or any statements you have, quote unquote, some Metaverse, NFT, Web3 gurus and experts, which if you're calling yourself that, you're probably not an expert. Though, when someone else does, you can take the flowers and accolades and claim them as is. So, anyone from the audience, raise your hand. Feel free. It's an open space, no judgment. If you see Tom's last name and you say Sargent, you say, "I want to be the Sargent. I want to tell him who's the real Sargent." You can come up and tell him who's the real Sargent. Or if you have a question about Metaverse, NFTs, feel free, ask away, or even add a comment or feedback to the space. Let's jump in. We've got Huxley. Huxley, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. I'm an NFT expert. Yeah.
Good for you.
No, I mean, what is the
That's hilarious.
What's the definition of an expert? I'd argue someone who's 10% ahead of everyone else.
Challenge me on that, please.
I mean, someone at the end of the day is going to go out there and just go, there's some legitimacy to this thing. Like, we're all in a growth mindset. We're all willing to learn. But there's still a point at which we must go, all right, we're actually established ourselves. There's like some real world ability to solve problems here. And I really like the conversation you guys are having about what are we going to call it, and what is the brands of the future going to look like? Like, I think that's a really interesting topic, and obviously AI being this big part of the emotional web going forward. Like, I really like those topics that you were talking about. Really, really powerful stuff.
Actually, what's your perspective and take on this from an NFT expert point of view? Where are you usually guiding your community to? Is it any certain use cases that you tell them to try? Because the best way to teach anybody is to show them and get their hands dirty. Do you usually point them towards a metaverse to try out? Is it a Decentraland, Sandbox, and you say, this is the best place to get started? And what is that? What is that metaverse?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one because people are going to do it whether we like it or not. Like, we were at a school the other day and, there were 6 kids who were already buying NFTs. So, like, someone's going to go out there and start telling them which direction to go. And you can't always make the best recommendations while you're early, but you just, the pursuit of maybe growing and trialing a platform with small amounts, like not all your life savings, but like just looking at a little bit, it's probably the best, really good educational experience. If I was, talking to anyone about getting their hands dirty, I'm a passionate Minecrafter, and GTA. Like, I think that the ability that it has, like if you look at the sandbox, and that really shows, the ability to create assets, share them, create these mini games. So yeah, if I was going to like direct anyone to a space, it would probably be, to play around with the sandbox, and Minecraft, and then,
Have you tried? Have you tried NFT Worlds?
NFT Worlds, I haven't had a full deep dive into that, but I will tell you. Yeah.
I think you'll love it. It's literally built in Minecraft.
Yeah.
It's Web3 Minecraft. Yeah, it's huge. It's great.
Sweet. Yeah, because I was talking to the guys from Gaming. I'm not sure you guys. Is that something that is on your radar? Cause they do a Minecraft one as well. But yeah, I'll check out NFT Worlds. I think that'll be.
Yeah, dude. But it's popular. It's good, and there's lots of good free stuff. It's very affordable to get started in as well.
Yeah, like that's if I was going to suggest anything to anyone, it's like, how do we like create this world, simulate things like physics and the real world in this metaverse, and then use it to actually then come back and solve problems in the real world. So like, yeah, I like NFT Worlds if it has the Minecraft capability, because that's always very interesting.
Yeah, an interesting one to jump into was MetaCon, which we recently did an event with the upcoming, as we do events through NFT Melbourne. Their ability was, it's a metaverse, and then as you get closer to the proximity of the person, you're able to hear and engage with them like you're at an event. And the problem that that's solving is the metaverse solves, and this only got pointed out to me and it finally made sense, is the problem that solves is when you're on a Zoom call, you have to jump into breakout rooms and everyone's kind of separate. But what if you could just walk over with your keyboard and be in that next room with them immediately instead of jumping into breakout rooms, coming back in, especially when you're trying to run a conference on Zoom. There's a lot of friction there, right? As we close up the space, I just want to thank all the speakers for jumping on board. Do check out their profiles. Josh, excellent understanding in terms of the new wave of what's coming with NFTs, consumerism, Remco, particularly within motion capture. I had a deep dive into his platform, Movella, and what they're building there. And it's pretty epic. The video side and the motion capture side is, I'm still wrapping my head around all these music videos and artists that are getting into the space. So it's cool to see the tech side. I know Hemilly is in Choice, which is a new metaverse that they're getting involved within the LGBTQIA+ community. And she does a lot of content around there. And Tom within the metaverse education side. So please do check out all these speakers. I'll leave it to Ivan to please close the space and final words from the speakers. Ivan, jump in on that.
No, for sure. Look, it just seems like an hour is not enough, unfortunately. We're kind of just like skimming through things, and it should be multiple hours, but I know most people would get bored at that. But I want people to connect with each other. It's really a time to start building not just the metaverse, but relationships more importantly, because that's what's going to really allow us to create some really amazing products and experiences moving forward. So from our perspective at Pixel Boss, just as a quick snapshot, we are in the infant stage of developing a physical space in Melbourne. We've opened officially. The club will be evolving over the next few weeks. But what we will be doing is taking our physical space and club, where we will be having workshops, masterclasses, live events, performers. All of that will be in the metaverse for us in the new year. So we will mirror our physical space in the metaverse. And the beauty for that is when we start working with people that we love, we now take them to that new space, whether it be a brand, whether it be an individual, whether it be someone that is a keen learner or a leader, it doesn't matter. But it's creating that push-pull. That to me is where this will really hit its stride for me personally. If you are looking to build on the metaverse purely just as a PFP type project, that's great. Hype is good, but hype dies. If we can develop sustainable relationships that evolve, that to me is where it becomes exciting. So I look forward to keeping in touch with some of you, collaborating where possible. So next week we announce our agency. So with Pixel Boss Agency, it's a 3-tier partnership. So look them up because they're phenomenal. EMT Partners, Joseph, Mark, and someone mentioned the guys at MySpace earlier. Joseph Mark built one of the, basically built MySpace back in the day, and that they are our third, and then my company, Web3 company, Department of the Future. Between the three of us, we are going to service top tier brands globally. We are starting predominantly in Australia and the US, but as we know, the idea of being decentralized is that we can all collaborate. So there'll be people in this room now that are really fucking good at something that we don't need to learn. We want to add you to our fucking toolkit. We want you to be an ally of ours as we divide and conquer. We've done it in documentary making, in lots of areas that we've worked in the past. Those rules apply to this. So if you are developing something and you want to contribute to something that we're doing, whether it be in sport, whether it be in music, whether it be in tech or fashion, they're the areas that we're playing in. Look forward to developing those relationships with you. And for me, that's it for now. Clearly very early in this particular space, but as soon as that whale comes through and develops that platform where the UX is phenomenal, it will blow up. Unfortunately, it probably makes everyone cry, but most likely it will be Meta that does that. Why? Because they've invested billions of dollars in doing so, and it needs someone of that scale to be able to develop the platform for other people to come and build on top of. Because if you remember when Facebook was launched early days, they allowed lots of people to go in their ecosystem and build. And that's what built their audience, and it's what made them so powerful. And I predict that that's what they'll do here. They'll give us the tools to go and do something really amazing. And some people will turn their nose away at it. But guess what? We're all here. If the audience that we want is at our doorstep and we love them and respect them, we're going to open the door. And that's what we need to do, is keep an open mind. Anyway, I didn't say much because I'm an absolute space hog. I could have talked the whole hour and you could have all sat there and said nothing. I'm super passionate but not as experienced as you guys. But together we'll build and fucking kick ass. Over to you, Daniel, and that's it for me.
Legend, pleasure, everybody. If you do have a topic that you want to throw to us, the host, or if you'd like us to co-host alongside you, let's do it. Let's make it happen. The idea of Web3 and the idea of this next movement of business is to collaborate in any capacity, whether it be through business or through Twitter space. LinkedIn audio is where we are quite bullish on, and we're having a lot of fun and engagement with our audience. So we want to have more people on here every single fortnight talking about new topics, bringing your expertise, your questions, your statements. So DM Ivan and myself. Stay up to date with Pixel Boss. This recording will be put onto Pixel Boss's platform as well as the Medium article. Pleasure. I'll leave it up to final words.
Wait. We've got a last minute master. We've got a Metaverse strategist here. Michael DJ, what's up? It's come up, and now he's looking for his.
He better drop the best alpha in the world right now. He better tell us where we are all going within Metaverse.
He's on mute, Fravie.
He's waiting for all of us in the Metaverse.
He's AI.
DJ.
You find your mute button, dude. Jump in. But everyone else, final words from each of you. Give us a bit of insights to what you're doing moving forward. Inspire us or put us back in our place, final whatever words, it may be.
Short, sweet. Josh, Remco. Let's go, and then Tom.
Yes. You go first, Remco. So you go.
Oh yeah, quick. So if you want to have some daily content around the Metaverse, NFT, Web3, then hit me up and follow me. I'm working on an NFT project which will come out for Movella. It will come out like Q1 2023. And personally, I'm also doing a little PO-up experiment, which I will drop on LinkedIn soon. So keep an eye out for that. And thank you, guys, Daniel and Ivan, for hosting this. This is awesome.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Great,
And
guys.
together we grow.
Yeah, thanks guys for hosting us. I'm not really active on LinkedIn, but it was a pleasure being here. I'm going to definitely check out more of these spaces and tune into your spaces, Daniel and Ivan. But if you do want to check out some of our content we focus mostly on TikTok and Instagram and really trying to lead the way there to onboard the next 1 billion users from the Web2 to Web3 space through just infiltrating them through their phones on social media platforms they're obsessed with. So if you do want to check that out, check us out at NFT for Noobs. If not, I'll be tuning into these as much as I can. Cheers, guys.
Sure. Amazing, Remco. I'm going to finalize with these final words because you remind me of Wim Hof. And to everybody, I wish you a good day and a good night. All the love, all the power. Peace. See you, everybody.
How about some love from Tom? How rude.
Oh, no, I'm here. Don't you worry.
All right.
You're amazing.
Thank you. So if anyone, particularly in the speakers, if you've got any projects or links that you want to send through, please send them through to Daniel or I. Lynn, which is in the audience, is phenomenal. A lot of this is thanks to Lynn. She's just killing it at Pixel Boss, working across a number of our verticals, an absolute legend. She will then coordinate those links with this recording. And just so you know, like the old school, like, you know, when you're a kid and you record off your tape recorder to the TV, I've done that with my iPad. So we'll be sharing this as a recording, but we'll also be writing an article off this. So it's a good chance for each of you to send something through that you want to share with the broader community. We will be making lots of content from anything we do. We're lucky that we come from a content background. Anyway, much love, everybody. Have a good morning, afternoon, or night, wherever you may be. Onwards and upwards. And till next time. I'll see if I've got a song and close it out. Well, I'm no DJ, but how embarrassing. There's music people in the room.
Hey, I'm here. Thanks. This isn't Twitter space. I thought I had to be added.
Mate, you've lost it.
Everybody needs to go home. But yes, I used to be a DJ, and yes, I call myself a Metaverse strategist. You know why? Because the Web3 space is about entertainers, and it's going to be for them to finally cut out the middlemen. That's who it belongs to. That's who the space belongs to. Because we've had to rely on platforms like Spotify, and I don't know if you know this, but 1,000 streams can't even buy you a cup of coffee. It's $3.50 US. So there you go. That's what it is. It's for the content creators. It'll be for a million other things, but first, you're going to buy your music, and it's going to be an NFT, and then the royalties will go directly to Drake. You know, instead of Capitol Records.
Mate, it's an absolute shame you came in so late, but having you up here is a good thing, and I agree the music industry is evolving quicker than a lot of other industries, and in the mid to long term, this decentralized ecosystem will really play into the hand of the creator. But the better bit is even more so for the community. When people realize that they can share in the spoils of the thing they love, it is an absolute game changer, and that's what I love about Web3, is that it's about community and how both benefit. Yes, there's someone in the middle is missing out, but there'll be an evolution of that. They'll reinvent themselves as well. Anyway, we can talk forever. Unfortunately, yes, we are going to close it out because we're over time. Much love and goodbye.
Yeah, the alpha is always in the after credits, right? Here you go.
All right, cheers, guys.
Thanks, guys.